Mr. Ed here on another gorgeous, gorgeous fall day here in southeast Louisiana. On the 27th of last month, 27th of October, Charlie and I went to Picayune, Mississippi, and we removed this monster beehive from out of an RV. And we pulled so much comb out of the hive. The hive was over 7 feet long, and we pulled out so much comb it filled five ice chests full of comb, brood comb, honeycomb, empty comb. And we came back here and I set all the bees up, and I had all this honey that came from that hive. My goodness, there were 2 ice chests full of honey. And so what I want to do on this video is show the process of how I extract that honey using a crush and strain method, and then what I'm going to do with all the wax. And because the way that the video is played out, I'm actually going to show you right now. I gotta make sure I close that gate so them chickens and goats don't come out. I'm gonna show you the wax that I got from it. I've already done everything, and that's what the video is all about. So we're going to go inside of where the kettle is right here, and I'm going to show you the amount of wax that, I mean, it's beautiful wax because I just rendered it yesterday, at least the first rendering, and show you what we got with that, and then we're going to continue on with the video. It ought to be pretty interesting and show you just how much honey we got from these bees, and I'll post a link to those videos in the description of this video as well if you hadn't seen either one of those videos. Let's get inside here and I'll show you what we got. Yesterday evening I went and rendered that wax in the kettle, and look at this. So it's all still in here. Look how that formation, how that wax comes out of that kettle and then into the bucket right there. That color is just so beautiful. And as I've got to do this morning, just clean this stuff up. Here is what is left behind from all that wax that you are soon to see. But this is the residue that's left behind. And because this kettle stays warm for so long, it probably gets more than 90% of the wax out, which is one of the reasons why we have all this dripping, because it's just seeping out. It's already cooling down. Like you can see, it actually connected. It looks like it was connected at one point and then it just broke off. That whole drip was connected. That's a really nice formation. So let me go ahead and pull out that block of wax, and let's find out just how pretty and how much wax is in there. There it is. Not a real heavy block, and I'm kind of surprised. I thought I would have gotten a little bit more wax than that. But this is just the first rendering of it, and I'll get all this stuff cleaned up. Run some water over it right now. See if it gets a little bit better color. But it is a beautiful color. Beautiful color. So here's the block of wax that we got. But now let's go find out what I did with all that honey and how we got the honey. Because all of this is honey. Can you believe that? All of that is honey. What I'm going to do now is start removing the honeycomb, this end of it right here. I mean, it got squished pretty good, but it won't matter. I'm going to crush and strain all this stuff, so that doesn't really matter. You can tell all of this, this much of that hive was honey. All of this is honey. Charlie and I just finished that removal yesterday of that camper trailer, and the amount of honey that we pulled out of there was tremendous. Easily it was 100 pounds of honey. And being that it was all in the comb form and I can't run it through our processing equipment, today I'm going to shoot a little video on how I do the crush and strain method of it. For me here at the Abbey, I have a kind of unique method of doing it. It's still the same principle, but for me, I have this huge coffee colander right here. This is one of the things I found while I was parrooting around here up at the Abbey, and I didn't know what I would use it for when I found it, but I knew this thing was so cool it would have a purpose for me one day. And as it turned out, this is what I always use now to crush and strain my honey, because it's such a large opening. It holds so much comb, and then the perforation on the bottom allows all that honey to drip through. And by chance, if anybody's fishermen or crabbers, they have a lot of familiarity with what we call around here a champagne bucket right here. And this is when you go fishing, you grab these things and they fill it up with ice, and you pay like $4 for that much ice, and that'll take you fishing all day long. Well, as it turns out, my colander fits perfectly into my champagne bucket right there. And my only regret about this operation is that I don't have a gate on the bottom of it to drain the honey. But as it turns out, I can work around that. And so what I do is eventually, when I get my honeycomb and I just start crushing it up, dropping it in there, it'll fill the entire, as much honey as we have today. And I'll show you that in a second. I'm guessing, Charlie, how about let's show them what we got in these ice chests. And if you remember in the video, all this comb right here is what I was looking at. We got a hive beetle right here. This is another reason why I've really got to do this thing as quickly as I can, because if I wait 2 to 3 days, the beetles will start laying in this stuff, and we'll start having maggots come out. In by 4 or 5 days, you'll have beetle maggots in here. So we got all of this honey, and this honey as well.
How much you think those boxes weigh?
I think we're going to be somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds of honey. I really don't know. But all of this honey, all this comb will be squeezed into this colander right here, and I'll let it drain out today's Saturday, so on Monday, when I come back on Monday, all that will be drained out. In fact, on Monday, when I come here, I'll show you a picture of that, and then we're going to put that colander outside, and we're going to let the bees clean all that stuff up. The first thing I do is I wear the rubber gloves, and the reason I wear the rubber gloves, it's not for any sanitary reason. It's because there are dead bees inside of this box right here, and trust me, dead bees, when you squeeze them, they will sting you. So I wear the gloves, and I don't get stung that way, but believe me, dead bees can sting. So I vacuum the live bees out of here. So this is what I do. I'll take a big old chunk of wax like this, and that's it. I mean, I'm just going to break it up. And I'm just squeezing it. And this comb, because it's probably this year's comb, it crushes really, really easy. Now, and also too, because it's still warm, I mean, I can hear the honey just dripping down into my champagne bucket beneath it. This is very thin, but this is all capped honey, so this is really honey. And I did taste it. This stuff is very, very good. Some people just like the idea of squeezing honey, and if you're one of those kind of people, you would really like doing this. And it's not a lot to it. I just make sure that I'm crushing the cells so that the honey's going to drain out of them. I've seen plenty of ways of doing this. Some people I've seen where they'll use a drill, and they'll just have a bit on it that mixes like a paint mixer, and they'll just stick it in the comb and just start beating it out. But I think it's just a little bit better this way. A lot less mess, that's for sure. Because I'm keeping all of my mess right here in front of me. Charlie, you mind, go ahead and zoom in so they can hear the honey hitting the bottom of that bucket.
Awesome.
With the honey, as you heard, draining so quickly, it won't take long for this honey to percolate through all the wax and get into the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and work as fast as I can. Well, let me show you. Before I do that, let me show you a difference between some of that comb that I'm using that's really easy to crush, as opposed. This is like, you know, if you can see in there, this is old brood comb, and that they backfilled it. And this stuff you can't really smash real well. I mean, we can open it up a little bit, but it's a lot harder to crush out because the comb is so old and it's got all those cocoons in there, and it makes it very, very stiff. So this type of comb that was at the end of that hive, where it's new comb, it just collapses right in your hand. But that older comb, it's always a little bit more challenging to get the honey to come out of it. But I squeeze it as tight as I can, drop it in there, and whatever is left over in there, that's fine with me, because in the end, this entire colander is going to be placed outside, and the bees will finish robbing it out. So eventually, the bees are going to get whatever I don't squeeze out. And that ought to wrap it up for this first box. So what I do next is I want to take all that honey, and I'm just going to dump it right onto all this honey, and it'll all filter out naturally through their own comb. And we'll let the bees enjoy the rest of this stuff.
Oh, look at that dripping. Oh, yes.
And then show them what's in the bucket already, Charlie.
There's a lot of honey in that bucket.
And we probably got 2 gallons in there.
At least.
And that's the basic process of crushing and straining. It's not real rocket science for sure, but a very, very effective way of getting the honey out of the comb. I've got the big ice chest to do still. Job's all done. Thank goodness. That is a lot of wax in there. I'd like to pick it up for you, but that thing is just too heavy. It's still full of honey in there, and it's still dripping out. And I'd love to show you how much honey is in the bucket, but I can't lift it up. So we'll just have to wait until Monday when I do this again. I've got all the ice chests all cleaned up, and these guys are all ready to go outside to be cleaned up by the bees. We'll pick this up on Monday. Monday morning, and I am very much anxious to find out exactly how much honey we got out of those comb that I crushed and strained. And I had gotten a couple of the ice chests all cleaned out yesterday. The bees, I brought that stuff out there yesterday. I got them inside, and we're just gonna, because I suspect that that comb is still gonna be wet, and it's too much honey for the bees to get to if it's just all piled on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread the wealth out to a couple of ice chests and the colander as well, and then we'll bring the ice chests outside and let the bees go to town. So let's get inside and find out what our loot is all about, how much we got. And as you can see, I've set things up for today. And here is our comb, and you you can see, there's honey still on it. And like I said, there's so much comb in the colander, the bees would have a difficult time to get down into the bottom of it. So for that reason, I'm gonna take a bunch of the comb out and spread it out between these 3 ice chests right here, and then put all that stuff outside. For the big reveal, let's find out just how much honey we got in there. I tried lifting this thing up with one hand, so if I hold the camera, I can't do it. I need both hands. It still is heavy. So we're just gonna lift it up. Ooh, we're gonna lift this up. Set on top of that ice chest. And I'll grab the camera and show you our loot. Ooh wee. Let's see if we can get a look on what the side it looks like. So this is the line right here where our honey is coming into this champagne bucket. It's not half of a bucket, but golly, it's darn close to it. I'll tell you what, how about we go and throw it on the scale and see how much it weighs. All right, here we go. I got no idea. I'm gonna say 50 pounds. That's what I'm gonna say. So let's just go to the 50. No, that's not enough. I pegged it out at 50. So let's move our big block to 50. And 60. 70. Oh, we got movement, and we're at 80. A little too much. 82. 82 pounds of honey. So let's see, if you divide that by 12, it's 7, 14, 84. That's almost 7 gallons of honey in there. I've got 2 5-gallon buckets, so at least I was right about that part. They'll need that much. So now that I've got the honey in the tub, I've got to go ahead and run it through my filters. And it's a 3-stage filter, 200, 600, 400, 200. And we ought to get it pretty good filtered out. Hey, I snagged a monk. This is Brother Joseph, and he's the guy that makes monk bread. He's the guy that makes. What time you get up? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
2:45 this morning.
And they make. How many loaves did y'all make today?
400.
400. So we got what? Cinnamon bread, raisin bread,
and then white bread.
And white bread.
And white bread.
And so the raisin bread. That's just made for the helpers and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for the volunteers, for the people that donate to the at Pennies for Bread, and then for the monks.
And then the white bread is, what happens with the white bread?
We give it to homeless shelters and soup kitchens all across the state of Louisiana.
Right, so on Thursday, Brother Joseph takes the bee-mobile, the monk-mobile, and he drives across the lake delivering bread to all the shelters. So I got Brother Joseph, and he's going to set those bread down, and he and I are going to lift up this bucket right here and start pouring it. And when this one fills up, we'll go to the next one. And possibly after that I can get it by myself. All right. You want to taste some of this stuff?
I do.
Here, taste it over here. There you go.
That's so good.
Woo-hoo! Does it give the monk approval?
Yes.
All right, I think I can handle it from here. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. You can brush your hand away. And here is the divvy. I got 3 more ice chests now with comb in it. as well as our colander. And while we're waiting for this stuff to, I can add some more to that right now. Right after I add that to it, we're going to go and bring all those ice chestnut colander outside. Listen to that. Stereo bees. Man, it did not take long for these bees to smell this honey out and come on over. I do love the sound of the bees. I do love watching them, like sitting in them when after we do all the cleaning up of honey. So this is just one of the best perks there is to it. So I got all the comb in all these containers. Bees are cleaning it up. The whole process, you know, 80-something pounds of honey. That's just incredible. The process of squeezing and getting the honey to come out of the comb. It's very, very simple to do. I do it on a larger scale. It can be done with a smaller colander and just in pots. It's just a way of getting honey other than processing it through machines. Good way of doing it too. Plus it's a lot of fun. So that's all I've got for you on this one. So thanks for watching. Keep on watching and I'll be making more. God bless. Mr. Ed, I'm out into the next video.